Your Royal Highness, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gamble.
We've just heard a highly controversial speech from the new Vice President, J.D. Vance. What's your take?
As an observer who has been a fan of the American experience and experiment, I think America can be more friendly to the rest of the world and engage with them on that basis. It's not a matter that people want to take advantage of America's niceness, because America has always held itself for its interests very bravely and very strongly. So I think a little bit of smile and not necessarily a hug, but definitely an embracing attitude towards others.
You think it was a bit abrasive then?
Well, not so much abrasive as not sounding nice.
Yeah. Do you think that that room felt a sense of disquiet?
Absolutely. And when there was clapping, there was very little clapping. And I don't know if anybody felt like I felt, but definitely it was a signal that his words did not get the clapping that maybe he expected or that he wanted.
Did you
and
hear?
I don't think he wanted clapping.
Did you hear some truth, perhaps harsh truths?
Well, when he's addressing Europe, all of us have truths about Europe. The fact that it is divided, the fact that it is not playing the role that it should be playing, the fact that they're not spending as much on defense and things like that. We all agree on that. So I agree with him on that, definitely.
Tell me this, when you think about what happens next with regards to the Middle East, also a sense of serious disquiet. We've heard very little from the Arab foreign ministers that are here on the ground in Munich, so far at least. In your mind, are they any closer to finding an alternative plan for Gaza?
I'm sure. And I'm surprised that, not just about Gaza, but the whole Palestinian issue. When people say that, well, we presented a plan from America, there are no alternatives to it. The place is full of alternatives. There is the Arab Peace Initiative. That's a very comprehensive alternative that will take into account a final ending to the conflict between Israel and its Arab neighbor. On Gaza, as I understood from newspaper accounts and statements from officials, there were talks about the day after engaged with America and with Europe and other players in the area that were suddenly, abruptly confronted with Mr. Trump's ethnic cleansing plan. So that, to me, is a surprise.
Yeah. The argument from the administration is that on October 7th, Americans died, and Americans should not be unsafe anywhere in the world. And beyond that, neither should U.S. allies. How can Saudi Arabia bridge that gap, bridge that conversation?
Well, I wish Americans would also keep in mind that before October 7th and since October 7th, the people who died most were the Palestinians with American weapons. So if there is going to be a quid pro quo, Americans died and Palestinians died and so on, we're never going to end the situation and reach a final solution. I think we should look forward to the future. Now October 7th is behind us. Now we have to go forward. Mr. Trump's plan is not selling anywhere. So the alternative is either go back to the Arab Peace Initiative, or they can think of doing Gaza along with the Marshall Plan in Europe after the Second World War. America rebuilt the whole continent, let alone the small strip of Gaza, while the people stayed in place. They didn't move the Europeans out of Europe in order to build that. So they can do it very well in Gaza.
When you think about what's going to happen next, there are a lot of questions about what that potential alternative plan can be. Given the weaknesses that you mentioned that are happening here in Europe, do you anticipate that Europe and the Arab states could come up with a plan together?
They already have, as you know, the alliance for the two-state solution. That is a European and an Arab combination. And I know that they've been working with the US and with the United Nations in order to formulate what can be a more peaceful outlook and result of discussions after October 7th. So give them a chance at least. Let them see, what they can do. But so far, this preempting and unilaterally making declarations is not helpful.
Yeah. Tell me this. Is there anything about the Trump administration that you've seen so far that has been good for the Arab world?
Well, what I can say is that, Mr. Trump has had experience with us from the first term. He said he wants to visit the area, and I would encourage him to do that. And he wants to have more engagement, let's say, with Saudi Arabia. He just announced a summit between him and Mr. Putin in Riyadh. That is something that the kingdom has already welcomed. So that is a good sign.
Yeah.
And I think he can take advantage of the position, not just of Saudi Arabia, but of the Arab and Muslim world in the world, to make the world a better place.
Do you think that the situation with Palestine can be resolved in a similar summit in Riyadh?
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your Royal Highness, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Ms. Gamble.